What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Scotty Says. It's been a few weeks, actually, at least a couple weeks since I've posted a video, and there's a couple good reasons. First, I started a part-time job, as I stated when I first started this channel. I am not monetized, so I don't make any money from these videos. I think I only have a total of like 10 subscribers, if that. I'm not making anything, and although I work a pretty good job that pays pretty well. Economy's still kind of tough. My rent is still almost $2,000, and that's for nothing really that fancy. And I got a truck payment, um, and now I got some other issues. So I got a seasonal part-time job, and it's either gonna end this weekend or possibly after next week. I think at most two more weekends. So I've only been there 3 weekends. Um, Tucker says hi. Um, and so I mean that'll be winding up pretty quickly here. But the other issue is I actually got sick last week. I ended up with a really bad migraine, and it was I usually typically get about one a year. I typically lately it's been two or three a year for like the last couple years, and I couldn't really explain it. I ended up having to go to the doctor because I took 3 days off, and my work wanted me to have a doctor's note. So I go, and when my doctor is talking, my new doctor, because I haven't gotten a new doctor since I moved to where I live now, and he starts telling me, he's checking my lungs, he's checking my heart. He's like, everything seems great. He's like, but you have these headaches. I was like, yeah. I'm like, it's pretty bad. I mean, I still have a lingering effect still to this day. It's been almost a week. It'll be a week tomorrow, and I still have a little bit of a lingering effect. And I'll tell you why. So we end up taking a blood test, or running a whole set of labs, um, and then I get the results Thursday morning, and it was alarming. My glucose was up to, I believe, 327. Um, and immediately that was a red flag for me. I've been in nursing school before. I took about 2.5 years. I took things like anatomy, physiology, microbiology, pathophysiology, and I kind of understood what that meant. I knew that I didn't know how dangerous it was because once again, I'm not I wasn't a diabetic, so it's not information that you just keep around in your brain. But I knew it was high, so I looked it up, did some research, and it's dangerously high. And it kind of made sense though, because it's completely my fault. Let me just say that right off the bat. It's 100% my fault because on so in my part-time job I work outside all day. Like, and last weekend I was working 9-hour days outside, and I live in Wisconsin, so it's been getting a little chilly. So I brought hot chocolate with me. And even though I know that I was pre-diabetic at some point, my dumb self didn't get the sugar-free hot chocolate, which still doesn't really matter because there's still a lot of carbs in hot chocolate. But I took regular hot chocolate, and I drank about a liter of hot chocolate over the weekend, and then was just confused as to why I had a massive migraine on Monday. So think about it that way. I got sick on Monday. I slept most of Monday. I slept half of Tuesday, and then Wednesday I was up, just because I had to go to the doctor and things like that. And but I had, but I wasn't eating terribly. Like, I hadn't been taking tons of sugar. So to be 327 on Thursday, on Wednesday, technically, after 3 days, that must have meant like my blood sugar was probably 400 or 500, which was super dangerous. So it freaked me out. I ended up meeting with the endocrinologist on Friday morning, and she told me something alarming. She's like, "Hey, did you know that you've been diabetic for a while?" I was like, "No," because now apparently doctors have access to all your old labs because like all their systems are speaking to each other. So even though I went to a whole different like hospital system, um, they still communicate. So she pulled up labs from 2019, and she's like, "Yeah, you were diabetic in 2019." She's like, "Your doctor never said you were diabetic?" I was like, "No, I pretty much I would remember if he would have said, 'Hey, you're a diabetic. We need to put you on insulin.'" Never said that. So he said I was pre-diabetic and I should start watching myself, and I did for a while. And but you know how life gets sometimes, especially during COVID. I mean, with prices skyrocketing. I was trying to run my business and I was running it lean. I wasn't paying myself, so had to do cutbacks. So now, I mean, I eat terribly. Let's put it that way. I eat god awful. I eat a lot of white bread. I eat about 2 loaves of white bread a week, not realizing the amount of sugar and the amount of carbs that are in there. Um, and I eat a lot of rice. Love rice. I'm Asian. I'm Korean. I was born in Korea. We eat rice 3 times a day. So, and and so now, you know, on Thursday and Friday, I was kind of emotional, because I was scared, because I'm now a type 2 diabetic, with no complications. She does. I think what kind of helped was, in my hour-long meeting with the endocrinologist, she said she doesn't believe that this is a long-term problem as long as I can make the necessary lifestyle changes. So big thing is changing my diet, which is really hard, especially in this economy. I don't have to tell you guys. I mean, grocery prices are insane. It's like double, triple. I mean, if you were talking about eggs, it was like 20 times the price. Um, I mean, like, thankfully stuff's going down, but like beef is still super expensive. I would know. I just made chili and it cost me a fortune. Half of it was on meat. So, um, so I mean, it's a little hard, especially right now because I'm coming off of, like, I'm just getting. I feel like I'm just getting to the point where financially I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, or I was until this happened. Because now all of a sudden I got hundreds of dollars in in my doctor visit copays, and now I'm having to buy all this medication. I'm on metformin. Thank God that's mostly covered. It's like 90% covered. I don't. I pay almost nothing for that. But things like my insulin, I still don't know how much my insulin's gonna be. They put the script in on Friday. It took 4 tries to find one that actually is allowed by my insurance, and I'm supposed to have pretty good insurance, through work. Um, but I don't know exactly what the cost is gonna be on that per month. I found out the cost of the needles for that injection pen, and it's not expensive, but it's not cheap. I mean, especially when you're not budgeting for it, and when you're on a pretty I'm on a strict budget. Like, I don't have a whole lot of wiggle room, at least right now. Things will hopefully change in the next month or two because, I'm in school, so I do get a little bit of money from student loans to help offset some costs, and then I'm supposed to get my semi-annual bonus from work in December. So which is kind of like my deferred salary, which actually it is deferred salary because they cut down my pay to pay for this bonus. So, so it'll help me. So I should be back on track at hopefully in the next couple of months. But I mean, we're looking at potentially hundreds of dollars that I don't have. So, it's been it's been a struggle. Just when I thought I had just finished getting caught up on my truck. I was behind. It almost got repossessed, and that's because of an issue with the previous employer prior to the one I had now. Um, and my pay, but now, like, up till this past week, I hadn't missed a day. So now I'm trying to deal with the struggles, try to deal with the realization, and I did start already making changes to my diet. So, once again, so I'm counting carbs. That's all I'm doing. Counting carbs and checking sugar. So I'm trying to eat anything that's zero sugar or as close to no sugar as possible. Trying to eat as few carbs as possible. I read somewhere like you could have up to, what was it, like 300 grams. I try to keep below that. I think it's like 30 servings, 30, 10, yeah, 30 10-gram servings is the maximum that you should have. So I'm trying to stay under that. Yesterday, I was doing good till like right at the right last night. I got super hungry, so I made 2 sandwiches. But I've already made the switch to whole wheat bread. It's one of the more expensive breads. It's like 3 times the price. Um, and then, I'm looking at the cheese. I'm looking at what kind of meats I'm buying. So luckily, the meat that I'm buying has no carbs, no sugars. But I have to look at the saturated fat too now. So I'm trying to educate myself on how to do all this. So I had a salad. I made a side salad, which you can't really go wrong with leafy greens. You can read that anywhere, and doing a zero sugar. salad dressing with almost no carbs. Um, doing skim milk, cheese, which has fat but low carbs, low sugars, um, and just trying to be healthy. It's hard. It's really hard, especially when I work as much as I do. I work weird, I work 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. When I'm not in school, and that's when I'm not, because I'm still in school. Um, and I'm and I'm also working a part-time job, and so I can no longer eat those processed foods. I can't just stop at Quick Trip or something and pick up something and just, it's gonna throw my complete blood sugar off. So I am on, um I'm on a monitor. So I monitor it's monitoring me every couple minutes. I get updates. So luckily, I've seen my glucose average go down into the low 200s. For a few hours yesterday, I actually got into the green. I was below 180. I was somewhere around I think the lowest I got was like 164 or something like that, which is still, I mean, it's good. It's a little high. I mean, if you're talking about on the normal side, because you want to be above 70 but below 180. So it's not terrible, but I mean, throughout my sleep last night, I was averaging about 220, 222, which is high, especially when you're sleeping. Um, so I got a ways to go. I'm on metformin. They started me off on 500 milligrams. I will be. She said she's gonna dose me up to 2,000, as much as my stomach will tolerate. So, I've been on that for 2 nights now. I did notice a little of reaction to it yesterday, last night before I went to bed. Um, I won't get into specifics, but it's a little stomach issue. Um, so we'll see how that does today, and going forward. But I think she said like she wanted me up by like 1,000 or 2,000 in a couple weeks, and I was like, that's a lot. So my stomach hasn't always been um, cooperative, to say the least. So I'm just making this video to make awareness of what's going on. I'll probably end up making more of these videos because I do want to start keeping track of what's going on, doing updates, maybe, start a community of, people with diabetes, you know, to help each other out. So at least my weight wise, I think I was weighing in at 256, which is big for a lot of people. For me, that's a lot less than what I weigh. I weighed almost 40 pounds more than that about 3, 4 months ago. So I've lost a lot of weight, which explains why my blood sugar is so high. And that explains why also, like, um, my eating habits and things like that. But, luckily I work a job where I walk a lot. I walk at least, I average about 12,000 steps a day. And then my part-time job, I'm walking, um, which I think 12,000 steps, I think it's between like 5, 6 miles. On the weekends, I do about 17 miles of walking. Um, went a little lower than yesterday, so maybe like 15 miles a day I'm averaging, or 15 miles a weekend. So like 7.5 miles a day. Um, so that's helping me out a lot. But the goal, is to get around 225, maybe 225 to 235 is what I was told is my ideal weight. And you were thinking like that's still really big. I'm 5'11", so my BMI says I should be like 189. That's never gonna happen. Um, Even back in the senior year of high school when I wasn't this big, and I was in the best shape of my life, I couldn't hit 189. I think I was like 196 or something like that. And even the military said like, yeah, I don't think you're ever going to get that low, but according to your BMI, you're acceptable. Your body fat percentage, because all my measurements still were good, because they do the neck, they measure your neck and then measure your waist and then do your height, and then they do the score and it comes up with your number. So that was good. I was still just slightly overweight, and I couldn't get below. I think I hit 189 once, and I was running track. So now it's not going to happen because ever since boot camp, I've really bulked and my body just blew out. Like my chest is twice the size. I'm a big guy. I mean, for 5'11", I'm a big stocky guy. I've been told I scare people, just because of how big I am. And it doesn't help that, and then when I have a gut, it's pronounced. But I also have tree trunks for legs. My legs are huge. My legs are as big as some people's midsection, like torso, like a like a fit woman. Like my legs about that size. So I have big legs. That's why I was a kicker on the football team. That's why I ran track and was pretty good at track. So um, well, I've been pretty good at sports that requires legs. Not a, I'm sorry if that offends anybody that has disabilities. That's not what I was. That was not my intent. Um, but yeah, I'll never get. So if I can hit 230, 235, I'll be ecstatic. And I would love to see um what my glucose levels are going to be at. So I mean, and then my triglycerides are more than double what they need to be. Um, but I think that's gonna my doctor wasn't necessarily worried about that, even though it was in like the 300s. Um, but I think it's because he knows that once I change my diet for being a diabetic, it's gonna change my triglycerides should correlate with that, along with my sodium levels. I drink a lot of water, and that's a byproduct of being a diabetic. You drink a lot of water, you go to the bathroom a lot, and so my sodium levels are a little low, which is insane for how much processed foods I eat. That just goes to show how much water I'm drinking. It's a ton. Um, late for the last few days, it's been lower. So I'm trying to still drink plenty of water because you kind of need that to pee out the sugar, the glucose, as they say. So just kind of wanted to update you guys. I know it's kind of a longer video than what I normally make, but kind of wanted to be honest. Probably get people's opinions. I don't know too many diabetics, and it's kind of a scary world. I mean, thankfully she did say that my endocrinologist doesn't think that I'm going on insulin on Monday, but that I shouldn't need to be on it for the rest of my life. She thinks that hopefully within 6 months to a year she could wean me off of that, just through lifestyle changes, exercising more. Even though I walk a lot for work, I don't exercise outside of work. I don't do like heavy workouts or even moderate workouts. And that's got to change. So I got to burn more calories. I got to burn that sugar. So I'm taking walks after dinner. I'm taking a 20-minute walk, and starting to help. I'm already seeing little changes in my glucose. So we'll see what happens. So this is it's not, I mean, it's not even a full week one, but this is week one. I'm 256, or I was on Friday, 256, and we're looking at my current glucose. We were looking at 327 on Wednesday. Right now it's right in the 200, low 200. So we'll see where I'm at every week. Maybe I'll try to do more videos, but honestly my schedule is insane. So we'll see what happens. Sorry that this isn't a great video. And it's not happy. I'm glad I'm not crying, because I was kind of a wreck for a couple days. It's life-changing news. Both financially, both physically. But it's also nice to have some answers to why I've been getting more and more sick. Um, and kind of explains to my previous employers that would get upset because I would call in because either I had a massive migraine or I had massive stomach issues or something, and it's all related to this. And but it is still my fault. I've gotten to the point where I got severely overweight. I was eating terribly. So things have got to change. So I'm gonna document it, see if anybody likes the content, and if maybe people want to talk about it. But that's kind of where I'm at. We'll see what happens. I have another doctor's appointment on Monday, where I start insulin, and so that should be a fun video next week to see how I tolerate that. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. What helps me out a lot currently, because I don't sell any merch, is to like and subscribe, share my videos. That helps me out the most. I would love it if I could get monetized, even small amount, to help offset the cost. I mean, I think that's everyone's dream, is to be able to make videos and make some money off of it. Um, and so I would love that too. So, and final thought is, I kind of laughed this morning. I was like, I really wish I had my aquaponics farm. This is when it would be the best, because I was growing all these organic vegetables, lettuce. I kind of made salads and stuff, and peppers and things like that. And I don't do that anymore because my business, I went out of business towards the end of COVID. I wish I could, but I'm still struggling. So I'm struggling financially. So any help that you guys can give by sharing and liking my videos, it would be greatly appreciated. Sorry for the long video, and sorry for the downturn news, but Let's hope that things get better from here. I'll see you guys next time, and this is Scotty Says.